Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. In this lesson, we are going to talk about compound interest. So, let me give you the formula first, then solve some question about compound interest. So, the formula is A equals to P times bracket 1 plus I power n. That's going to be my formula. So, what do they mean, those letters? A means after amount, the amount after compound interest. So P means previous amount, previous amount. One is from the formula. I is interest rate, that n is number of year. Now, where do you use compound interest? So remember, in simple interest, you put your money and there was formula, remember, A equals to P times bracket 1 plus I times n and close to bracket. Why? Because in simple interest you calculate so the interest with the previous amount for all years. That's why you multiply I by n. But for compound interest, you don't calculate for all years with the same amount. The previous amount is going to change for every year. What do I mean? I mean that, so for example, let's say you put 1000 rand into your account, and if it is going to be in there increasing by compound interest rate, the next year we are not going to calculate with 1000 rand, it's going to be more. So let's see how the questions are going to come across us, and I solved the questions. I hope it's going to be clear for you to understand compound interest. Let's have a look at questions now. All right, now my first question is, if I deposit 1000 rand into my account, how much will I get after 3 years with compound interest rate of 10% per year? So now I'm going to explain this question by two methods. The first one is going to be in the formula, the other one without formula. Let's see what will you get. The first solution. So what was my formula? My formula was that after amount equals to previous times 1 plus I power n. Alright, now let's see what is given. The previous amount is given, so I will put there 1000 times 1 plus the interest rate is given, which is 10%. The important thing is here that you need to convert this one too into decimal number or fraction. So you should convert to decimal number. Why? Because you are allowed to use calculator, and it is going to be easier for you to use decimal number in calculator. So 10% is going to be 0.1. Please don't make mistake, don't write there 10%. If you write there 10, you are going to find the wrong answer. So that will be 0.1 power. How many years? 3 years. 3. So after amount, the question is asking you after amount already. That will be 1000 times 1 plus 0.1 will be 1.1 power 3. We will find a cube of 1,1 from our calculator. That will give you 1000 times 1,331. So 1000 times 1,331 will give you 1,331 rand. Alright, that's going to be my final answer for this question. See, all things are about using this formula. You should know how to use. See, just put the values which are given from the question already, and then try to find what the question asks from you. When you put the numbers in correct place and just use calculator, you will see finding answer is going to be so easy for you. So that was the first solution. So now let's pass to our second solution. Alright, my second solution 2. Now remember, I told you need to convert this one to decimal number. Okay, I converted. What you are going to do is that you will calculate how much you are going to have after 1 year. I have 3 years, and then I need to calculate for first year first. Then I will calculate for second and then third year. First year. So you will have the previous amount, which is 1000 rand, and plus 10% of it after 1 year. 10% of 1000 is going to be 100. Add them up, which is going to be 1100 rand. After 1 year, you see your amount is different, not 1000 now. So that thing makes the interest compound interest. Compound, by the way. So compound interest. If that amount is not the same for simple interest, remember we were calculating with that 1000 every time. But now you are going to calculate for each year with different amount. Alright, that's why it's called compound interest. So now for my second year, I have my previous amount, which is 1100 rand plus 10% of this one. Now 10% of 1100 rand is going to be 110 rand. So when you add those numbers to each other, you are going to get 1210 after second year. So for third year, we are going to use this amount now. Your previous amount is 1210. You need to calculate 10% of that one, which is going to be 121 rand. When you add them up, you will get 1331 rand at the end of third year. So this one is for people, those whoever doesn't like to memorize. But there is a problem. Why? Because sometimes they ask you like 6, 7, 8 years, and they give you like interesting number, not like 1000 rand. They give you other numbers like 225, 2255. At that time, it is going to be a little bit hard to use this method, and I suggest you to use the formula for those questions I said. Remember, and they give you like different numbers, which is not going to be easy to calculate for each year separately. Like the percentage is 10%. It can be like 7.5, 3, 2, 5, 10, any amount. 10% is easy to calculate. All right, so that's why you should know both methods. For some questions, this one is easier. For some questions, the other method, which is formula. But totally it is up to you to use whether this method or the formula method. All right, now remember I showed the formulas, and generally we talk about money for like simple interest and compound interest, but you will sometimes come across some other questions which is not about money. For example, there the population of flamingos, and we are going to use formula of one of the interest, simple interest or compound interest. As you see, there is not given which interest you are going to use, and so normally, remember in previous question it was given already like compound interest rate of, it was written like that. So if it doesn't give, how do you find it? How do you find? So now you are going to think about the question. Now, when the amount is changing every year, let's say if you are dealing with 3,200 for the first year, and for the second year, if you are not going to deal with the same amount, that's going to be compound interest. If you are going to deal with the same amount, that will be simple interest. Now, let's have a look question. The flamingo population of place A, any place, increasing by rate of 2.5% per year. If there is 3,200 flamingos now, how many will there be in 4 years time? So you should think now, if flamingos are increasing by 2.5%, and now I have 3,200, in after 1 year, will I deal with again this number or more? Of course more, huh? Because there will not be 3,200 flamingos after 1 year. It is going to be plus 2.5% of 3,200. So that means the amount is going to change after each year. So what will I use? I will use the formula of compound interest. What was the formula? Formula was that after amount after equals to previous times 1 plus interest rate power n. So after, we don't know, previous we know 3,200 times 1 plus, remember I told you that you need to convert this one into decimal number. 2.5% will be, yes, 0.025 in decimal number. So I'm going to put that one there, 0.025 power, how many years? 4. So I'm going to calculate this one, add to each other, after equals to 3,200 times 1.025 power 4. Right, now when you calculate this one in your calculator, it will be 3,200 times, this one will give you 1.103, and it's going like that, 812896. I don't need to write them. So what I need to do, just multiply 3,200 by 1,103. 103. So remember, in decimal number, you don't read this number as like 103. You read 1 by 1. So you are going to get 3,532, 20. So For a flamingo, you can't have like 0,2 flamingos. That's why you're going to use this whole part. So after 4 years, you are going to have 3,532 flamingos. That means it is going to increase by 332 flamingos. So I suggest you to use the formula method, because in other method you may confuse it, because 2.5% you need to calculate for the first year and the second year and third year separately, and you need to deal with decimal number too much, so that's going to be a little bit hard and you may confuse it, but it's up to you. Of course, I showed you in the previous question, so you can use it. I won't explain by second solution, I explained it to you by first solution, which is formula, by formula. All right, so basically we said for the compound interest, if the amount is changing after each year, that will be compound interest. The questions doesn't have to be about just money. You can use the formula of compound interest, simple interest, and the depreciation, the formula of them, all of them, in something else to like population, like anything. All right, so now basically, again, in previous question I told you, you will just find the values which are given from the question and put instead of the letters into the equation. This is an equation indeed. See, equation. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.